Hey, welcome to the first of what's going to be a future kind of an ongoing video series. This is not going to be on YouTube. It's not going to be highly produced. It's just going to be kind of a rambling about what's going on behind the scenes in the Geek Pub and my life and whatever else. And so I'm not going to edit anything. If there's mistakes in here, we're just going to keep moving along and we'll see how it goes. But I hope to make this a fairly regular thing as I have interesting things to talk about and share with you guys. And boy, I've got a list today. So this will be accessible on Patreon if you're a Patreon member, but it'll also be available on the geekpub.com for anybody to go. Just go up to premium, I think is where I'm going to put it. We'll see. I haven't decided yet, but it'll be there somewhere on the site. So the first thing that you guys are probably wondering is, what's this new room? You're like, what happened? Did you move again? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So back in 2013, my wife and I, we decided to sell our house and build a new one. And so we built one about, it's probably about 4 or 5 miles north of our old house. And at the time, we had a mother-in-law living with us and kids living with us. And so we built this big house, had a mother-in-law suite, and plenty of room for everybody, as well as a big garage and a separate shop area for the Geek Pub. Well, the little separate shop area never sort of worked out for me. It just was not big enough. And then I wound up moving into the garage area, and then it was hard to park my truck, and I couldn't paint in there because it just all of these problems with that. And then it wound up only being my wife and I living in the house after we'd been there for about 5 years. So we had this massive, huge house and all of this space. And we started talking about it. It was like, what we probably should do is get a smaller house like to live in every day. I'll buy some kind of shop building or Geek Pub office space, if you will. And then maybe we can invest some of that extra money, if we have any left over, into a lake house or a vacation home that we can do some, not only enjoy ourselves, but then do some VRBO and some things like that. And so that's what we've done. We bought this house. It's a much smaller house. It's still fairly nice, but it's a much smaller house than what we used to live in. It's not very far from our kids and grandkids. It's about a 5-minute walk at most to get to go see the grandkids, or they can come over here. So that's really, really nice. So let's talk about the next thing is the crazy, ridiculous weather that we've had in Texas. So you would not believe, I mean, I know you've seen the news reports and stuff if you don't live in Texas, but man, we got obliterated, and so many people have damage in their houses from freezing and busted pipes. It's actually amazing. Texas is just not, our houses are just not insulated to handle that kind of deep freeze for that long period of time, especially when so many of us didn't have electricity. I didn't have electricity in my house for 3 solid days. And so luckily our house has all PEX plumbing. And so it did freeze. None of the faucets would work or anything in the entire house. But after a couple of, I'd say it's about really 12 hours or so of having the heat back on in the house, those pipes thawed out and everything worked again. Unfortunately, our swimming pool, the pipes on it look like Swiss cheese. And so I was able to go out there. I've got a little portable bandsaw. I was able to go out there and chop some of the pipes off that were broken and patch it up. And it is running. All it will do right now is filter the water. I have no chlorinator. I have no heater. I have no vacuum, like the booster pump for the vacuum. None of that works. It's all busted. And so we're on a waiting list. They said it could be months before they could get parts to us. And so the good news is there's people in far worse situations than this. My boss, for example, at my day job, his pool is green. He can't pump water, and it's a giant mess. So anyway, we're going to get through it. Oh, and pools, apparently, we have also learned, are not covered by your homeowner's insurance unless you have a pool rider policy, which we don't. So we're going to have to pay for all the pumps and stuff out of pocket. Wonderful. So I think probably the next thing that's on everyone's mind is what about this new building? And so I think there was a lot of misconception on the video and some of the comments, and even on David posted on Patreon some I think the same video, and there was a lot of comments that were kind of surprising. The building is mine. I bought the building. It is it's not, David and I didn't buy it together, so it's not a new 8-bit studio as somebody posted on Reddit. It is the Geek Pub. However, that being said, I love sharing things, and I plan to fully share this with David. If he wants to come shoot video there, or use the workshop, or the computer museum, we'll share together. A lot of it will be my gear, a lot of it will be his. I'm going to put some arcades in there in the museum as well. Maybe I've been always wanted to buy and refurbish an old Pac-Man machine, so I'll probably do something like that. But yeah, it'll be a shared space. But it is my building, and I purchased it, so it is really the Geek Pub, and other people are allowed to come share that space with me because I love sharing spaces. And so, speaking of sharing spaces, we'll probably also offer to use the building for area meetups for makers. So hopefully we'll get a great maker space there where people can come in and have a meetup. I don't know about letting people use the tools and things because there's probably some insurance things that my insurance company would frown upon. But I'm certainly interested in helping people if they need something quickly cut on a CNC or something like that. I might offer to do some of those things, but mostly for meetups. I also want to do some of the retro meetups. I know there's several retro computer meetups in DFW, and we're happy to host some of those when the building is ready. So we'll do that. One of the things that I've always wanted to have a place where the computers and arcades and things like that were set up and ready to go, and we could turn them on and actually play with them without having to get them down and unbox them and everything like that. So I'm really excited about having a space where I've got, a Commodore, an Apple II, pets, and all those types of things all set up, always running. All you got to do is turn them on and use them. And so really looking forward to that. And I think that'll also help David with some of his videos because he'll have quick access to a bunch of computers that are already up and running. With that, there's an expense to that. And so when people come in and they use these computers, without a doubt, somebody's going to break one. A little kid's going to come in and pull a key off or whatever. We're planning to, and I don't know how this is going to work, but we're planning to have some kind of adopt a computer thing where maybe you can go on to the 8bitguy.com or the geekpub.com and go to the museum page. We haven't figured out how any of this is going to work yet, but maybe there'll be a page where you can pick your favorite computer and adopt it, and you can pay, whatever you want, 50 cents or $5 a month, a year, whatever. I don't know. Again, we haven't figured it all out. And that money will go 100% dedicated to the museum. Not a penny of it will go to anyone else or anything else, but just adopting that computer and making sure it's maintained. And if we get more money than we can spend, which I doubt that will ever happen. That never happens. But if we were to get more money than we could actually spend on the museum, maybe we would use that money to grow the museum into a bigger space or something like that. But I doubt seriously that's going to be a problem. Speaking of that, one of the things that we're talking about doing in the new building is we're going to have a studio space. And we've always wanted to do a podcast, and it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard to do a podcast without having a dedicated space for it. So we kept kicking that can down the road, and so we've got it's me and David and a friend of mine named Craig have wanted to do this for we've talked about it for at least a couple of years now, on and off. It's not going to be about necessarily 8-bit computers. It's not necessarily going to be about building stuff or arcades or anything like that. In fact, one of the names I have for the podcast is we haven't named it yet either, but it's called Off Topic. But it might be on topic, so I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we may talk about our experiences as kids with learning computers. I mean, we may talk about building an arcade or something in a podcast. But I think the general idea of the podcast is going to be to talk about philosophical stuff and, day to day, maybe how you run a business or problems with different business models. And we'll just talk about any random thing. Some of it might be, we might have an episode on bad special effects in sci-fi movies or something, right? It's completely going to be off topic, and you'll be able to decide which ones are interest to you and listen to those and ignore the rest. But it's me and David and this friend of mine, or both of our friends actually, but it's a friend I met in like 6th grade, and we've known each other forever. He's really super smart guy. He's a developer by day. He writes code. Well, I think he's more in the managerial side of things now, like I am. But I think he is absolutely brilliant. He's a super smart guy, and he knows so much about so many things. So I think the conversations that come out of those podcasts will be really awesome. So whenever we get the building set up, and it's going to be a while, I mean, we haven't even got our certificate of occupancy yet. That was supposed to take a couple of days, and the city hasn't even called me yet, and it's been over a week. So we'll figure that out. And we'll announce it. There'll be a big announcement when we get ready to actually release the first podcast. And we'll probably honestly record 2 or 3 of them up front, and then kind of stagger them out so that we can always be just a little bit ahead. Because it's our schedules, it's really kind of hard to make dedicated time for stuff. So anyway, moving on to the next. Oh, and if you have suggestions for podcast ideas, email them. Love to see what you guys would like to hear about. So speaking of podcasts and all of that, one of the things that I have been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm not sure how to do it, is I'd like to make a lot of less highly produced content for YouTube, or maybe not for YouTube, but content. And I do some of that now with my premium, with the Geek Pub Premium. And if you guys don't know what premium is, it's a way for you to join the Geek Pub. You pay a very small fee, and you get access to all kinds of stuff. And one of them is additional videos on how to do arcade things and stuff like that. And you get access to all of my plans, every arcade plan I've ever made, my stuff like my sandpaper storage station, and like all kinds of plans. There's some PVC stuff too, like for how to make a PVC rocket rifle and a bunch of stuff like that. But one of those things is there's videos, and I make quick little videos about how to do something when you're building an arcade. People are constantly asking me, how do you do this? Well, I've got a little video for that. I'd like to make a lot more of that content, and so it's really, really hard to do that. And because I feel like if I make that content, it's like stuff you just make with your cell phone, for example, and I post that on YouTube, people are going to be like, well, what the hell is this? Did you just, you couldn't take the time to actually edit this video? And man, making a video, like making like one of the arcade videos or the new building video that you just saw, those take hours and hours and hours. I mean, the last arcade video took me like 3 weeks. Again, I work a day job also, right? But it takes a long, long time to make those videos. And also in my current situation where I don't have a dedicated shop space, I have to put all this stuff out. I have to like get out all the tools. I have to get my wife's car out of the garage and spread everything out so I can have enough room. And then she's mad at me because she wants to park her car in the garage instead of leaving it outside at night. And so then I'm kind of in a hurry to get everything put back. Same thing where I set up the studio. I have a recording area for the voiceovers. I do that in the master closet because of all the clothes and things like that help really, stop the echoes. But same thing, she's like, get this microphone out of the closet, right? Well, that is actually one of the great things about the new building is that I'll be able to leave stuff set up all the time. So I'll be able to shoot stuff really quickly. And it will also lend itself to being able to make these really short, unproduced videos. And I'd like to do more of those. And I don't know whether I should just make like a second channel on YouTube or if I should consider just having it like on the geekpub.com. And if you want to watch them, just go there, click on, premium or something and watch them. I don't think people want to see those on the regular channel because I always get complaints. Like I made a mining video about when I built one of my miners. I made a follow-up video to that and I shot it on my cell phone. And if you read the comments are just on and on and on about how poorly the video was produced. And I actually started the video with, this is going to be a very, very poorly produced video, but I just wanted to give you an update on how my mining rig is working, So, yeah, I would love your guys' thoughts on what I should do there. So, leave a comment below on that. So speaking of the new building and what we've got going on there, one of the things that I want to start doing is, and I used to do this, and I kind of quit for numerous reasons, but I really want to sell arcade components. I'm constantly being asked by people because I usually just leave Amazon links. Here's where you can go buy these components if you want them. We're talking about for the arcade plans, and a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I would just rather buy it all from you. Can you just ship it to me? And I'm like, well, there's so many things to deal with that. It's, people return stuff, people break stuff, and let me tell you, people break stuff constantly. And then they'll want to return it, and I'll get it back, and like, look, I saw what this looked like before I shipped it, and it wasn't broken. You broke it, right? But I can't do that. I just had to take the return, take it on the chin, and ship them a new part. And so I kind of quit doing part sales, mostly for that. But more importantly, I quit doing it because of support. People want me to support everything. This is the same reason that I quit selling the WAN box that I sold, which was basically an open sensor, PFSense firewall piece of hardware that I sold for a while on the Geek Pub. And the support was a nightmare. I mean, I would get calls and I would be on the phone for an hour trying to teach somebody how PFSense works, and it had nothing to do with the hardware that I sold them. And so then I moved it to a no support model, and then that just turned into a people sending me hate mail, and so I just quit selling them. It just wasn't worth it. And it's really interesting too. I sell stuff. Plans right now pretty much is the number one thing that I sell that requires support. And I get that. I totally understand, and I'm happy to support things. In fact, I love supporting my customers. They're awesome. But what inevitably happens is I get emails from people, and they're furious with me because I won't teach them something. And let me give you an example. I got an email just probably 3 or 4 days ago from a guy. He bought a Grizzly bandsaw, and he bought it from, he looked at my shop tour video and was like, oh, well, this is the one, the Geek Pub, if this is what he uses, it's the one I want. And so he bought it, and I really appreciate that. I don't even have an Amazon referral link on that, so I didn't get a commission or anything, but it's awesome to see people buy something because they believe that if I bought it, it must be a good tool or whatever it is. And so he sent me this email, and I'm not gonna say his name or anything like that. And I love the guy. Look, let me just explain. So he sent me this email, and he's like, hey, I bought this Grizzly bandsaw, the same one you have, and I'm gonna cut out some of your arcades to give to the kids and a local, like, I don't know what it was. He's some kind of charity or something, like a YMCA. And so he really wanted my help. Hey, help me out, figuring out how to adjust the blade. He said it's not cutting straight, it's chattering, and all of that. And so I replied to him and I said, hey, I don't provide that kind of support. You need to call Grizzly. Grizzly makes the bandsaw. Grizzly supports the bandsaw. I don't. Oh my gosh, you would not believe the email I get back from this guy. It is ridiculous. And he lights me up like the 4th of July, tells me what a horrible person I am and how terrible my customer service is and all of that. And I'm like, I just replied to him and I said, well, why do you think that I should be obligated to support you on this bandsaw that you bought from Grizzly? I didn't make a penny on this. And he replies back to me and he says, well, I bought your arcade plans. You're supposed to help me build my arcade. You said that you would support me. It says right here on your website, free support via email. Okay, so this is the problem. People will take, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, right? And again, I don't mind helping people. I try to respond to every email I get, unless if it's in the FAQ, I won't answer your email, by the way. If it's in the FAQ, read the FAQ. If it's not in the FAQ, send me an email. Be glad to help you out. But anyway, so this guy thinks that for my plan cost him $5, and he used a coupon code too, by the way. So it really only cost him $3. And so he thinks that for $3 I should support his bandsaw that he bought from somebody else that has nothing to do with the arcade, other than the fact that that's the tool he decided to use. He could use a jigsaw, he could use any other number of tools to make this arcade, but he bought the Grizzly bandsaw that I like, so now I've got to support it. So I can go on for hours about that. I get emails like that all the time, and it is what it is. So this is the reason that I fear selling additional products on my website, is because people are going to email me constantly and ask me to support things. And like I'm going to sell, let's say, so some of the things I want to sell, I would love to sell arcade joysticks and buttons, and I want to make. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, there's like monsterjoysticks.com. They have this box that's kind of an all-in-one thing. There's all kinds of things like that. I'd like to sell retro controllers, like a Nintendo kind of retro controller, but it's USB. Because I get asked for this kind of stuff all the time, and because I used to sell it, people always come to me and like, I want to buy this from you, and I'm like, well, I don't have it, and here's the reasons why. So I would love your guys' thoughts on how I can sell those things without having to take on the support nightmare of all of that. And I know a lot of people just say, don't support it, don't answer the emails, don't do that. And I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that my customers love, because I know when I go to certain businesses and they support the heck out of me, I refer everybody that I can to them. There's a company called DFW Security. They do the alarm at the building, they do the alarm at my house, they're going to do the alarm at our lake house if we ever get it. And I refer every single person I know to that company, and I've probably referred 100 people to them who I know have actually bought their service, right? And it's because their customer service is over the top. They take care of me. Let me tell you, when I put the alarm in the building, they came out, and he was looking at it, and he's like, oh, this is a little bit bigger job than I thought it was going to be. Normally it's this monthly fee plus this install price, and they had already waived the install price. And so he looks at it and he goes, you know what, man, you've been a customer for a long time. We quoted you, we messed up. We're just going to eat it. We're going to put all this in for free. You just pay the monthly fee. I didn't even complain. Like I didn't even give him a reason to do that. But that's what you get from a company who cares about customer service, and they want to make sure, because look, how many more people am I going to recommend go use DFW Security after they did that for me, right? So those are the types of companies that I want to do business with. And if those are the types of companies that I want to do business with, it's the type of company that I want the Geek Pub to be. I want to make sure that we provide the best service, the best products, and all around, I want our customers to love us. And if they don't, I'm doing something wrong. And so I feel like the model of we refuse to support anything and all sales are final is not that model. And if I could guess, a lot of people will also tell me, just raise the price. And I might do that. I might just make it, $20 higher than Amazon. And if you want to buy it from me, you're going to pay a little bit extra, but you're going to get the customer service and support and all that comes along with it. If all you care about is price, buy it from Amazon, right? Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But I'd love your thoughts on that. So part of what I want to do in the new building space is to set up a CNC machine. And this won't happen immediately. It might be a year from now before I get to it. But I want to set up a full size, we're not talking about an X-Carve or, like a hobby type CNC machine. I'm talking about a big, 96 by 48 shop bot or something, right? A Laguna, or is that how you say it? I can't remember. Anyway, see, I told you this was not going to be highly produced or edited. So you get what you get. So, but a big CNC that can do a full sheet of, like plywood or MDF, and then sell arcade kits. And so somebody wants a bar top arcade. A lot of times, like, I get emails constantly. Somebody buys one of my plans, and they're like, hey, I've thought about this. I started to make this myself, but then, I thought, hey, could you just make it for me and I can pay you? And now, inevitably, what they really want is they want me to basically do it for free. And I can't do that. But, like, if I've thought about it, like Walmart sells an arcade kit. It's like $250 or something. It's absolutely terrible. It's basically really thick cardboard. It's terrible. And I was like, you know what? If I could sell like a bar top arcade kit, for example, for like $175, $200 tops, I think that would be a really good thing to offer to people. And the thing is, the biggest problem is going to be with shipping it, right? And returns, if people want to return it for whatever reason. But I think I would like to offer that type of service. What I'd really prefer is a pickup service where I'll build them, and maybe I'll just build 30 or 40 of them at a time, have them sitting on the warehouse shelves or something, and somebody can come by and pick one up and take it with them. I don't know. I'd love your thoughts on that too. What do you guys think? Should I sell arcade kits? So again, and it all comes back to support too. I can only support so many things and so many people, because you have to remember, for every minute that I'm spending supporting something, like helping somebody, like inevitably somebody will call, or not call me, but email me and say, hey, I'm having trouble installing RetroPie. Can you help me out? Sometimes I will try if I have time. If I have a few extra minutes, I'll try. But the reality is, that 10 or 15 minutes that I spent going back and forth, or sometimes longer than that, is time that I could have been spending creating a video, doing something like this, making a new article for the Geek Pub. Now, I will tell you this, I do try anytime I have to support somebody. Somebody sends me an email, hey, I'm having this problem with RetroPie. I generally try to write an article for the Geek Pub on that very topic, because obviously if one person had that problem, probably other people did too. So I do try to get a little bit of dual use out of a lot of that stuff. But so anyway, that is, golly, how long have we been going on here? Almost 25 minutes. So I'll probably end it roughly here. I would love your feedback on this format, and if you want to see more of these, again, I'm planning on doing like one of these a month, and then we'll see how it goes from there. I'd love ideas for topics, what you want to know about that's going on in my personal life, how much you want me to share. There's a few things I'm just not going to share. I'm sorry. I have to have a little bit of privacy, right? But for the most part, I'll talk about anything. I don't have a lot of secrets, and I'm not too worried about if people know what I'm doing, or things like that. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up, and I'll see you next time.